Okay, we got a pretty quick repair tonight. I got two 150s here. This one has a defective battery cover. The thing just doesn't stay on, and that's not something I've ever seen before. And then we have this one here. The rear speaker is not good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make one good out of these two, because I don't think it's possible to really fix this. I don't even fully understand how this works. So we're going to take the internals from this one, and the back plate and the back cover, and the front panel from this one, because this one has a lot of scuffing on the display. So we're going to combine these two and make one good one. So let's start by undoing these here. No, that's not going to work. We have two screws on the bottom of these telephones, and that should release the housing. And there's a racket upstairs, so you'll have to just ignore that. Okay, so now we're going to split this open, and it looks like this is not going to come as easily as I'd like it to. So the way I do this here, take an old ticker towel here, and I'm going to get a screwdriver. I'm going to put this over put the cloth over the blade, and I'm going to insert it into here, and just very, very carefully try to pry this off. And you have to be very careful doing this because of two things that could go wrong. One is you could dent the plastic, and that may be, a superficial thing, but it would actually feel sharp along the edges as you hold it, and that's no good. And the other reason is because you could slip with the blade, and it'll fall in there, and it'll cause a damage to the board, and we don't want that either. So it looks like this actually has a second clip up at the top. Yeah, it does. You really didn't want these things coming apart. Okay. Alright, so this is handset 1 apart, and we have a tape. Try to remove that. So on this one, the electronics are good, so I want to be particularly careful with the internals of these. Now these handsets are the original versions. These came out in the late 2000s, like 2008, 2009, and they had this wire here, this additional antenna. And the new ones that came out like after the 2000s, I mean after the 2000s, wow, they came out in the future. And the ones that came out in like 2010, 2012 and whatnot, those didn't have that, and so therefore their performance was not as good. And I just realized, well, if these weren't so junky, I would have gotten the cloth out, but I didn't bother to get the cloth out because these telephones are kind of junky, unfortunately. But they still work just fine, so there's no reason to not use them. These actually have a date of 2008 on them up there. So these would have been some of the first few that were on the market. Very good phones. They were much better than the ones that came out after these. These are definitely cheapened quite a bit. Okay, this one's going apart a fair bit easier. Come on, there we go. Alright. So, if I recall correctly, this one has this spoiled electronics. So actually what I can do to make this easier is, I think, oh no, I guess that wouldn't work. I was going to say, yeah, I forgot about the speaker. Okay, so we are going to have to take these apart all the way. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so now that we have these open, this is the one that does not work. And I may do a video in the future to try to figure out what exactly is the cause of that not working anymore. Because I've really never seen that before, and it's very strange. Where'd the other piece like this go? What happened? Where did it go? What on earth just happened? Where is... Oh, there, it's in my hand. Oh, see, this is too late to be doing this. Alright, let's see. There should be screws on here somewhere. Here they are, they're up at the top. So let me set this aside here. So this is the back cover that we're going to use for the good handset. We use that one, why not? And I'm going to leave the dialer pads alone. I don't need to take those out. Okay, and then we're going to use so we're going to use this board. We use that thing, and then this is the no, we're not going to use, that's the bad board. We're going doggone it. We're going to use this board. And wait a minute, I'm getting confused here. This was the bad cover. So that means what? Oh no. I forgot. I think this was the actually. Wait a minute. This one was the bad one. This had the. I think I've lost track of which one is which. How embarrassing. No, this was the good one. So then all I have to do is take the cover and just put this. I gotta go turn the base on, and I actually know what I'll do. I'll register one of these and I'll test it because I don't remember which one is which. So I'm going to plug in the battery and I'm going to attempt to register it like this, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I got this registered, and let's see here. Is this the good handset? Yep. So actually this was initially what I had in mind, but for some reason I thought it wouldn't work. So all I have to do now is take the good battery slot and put it back on. So that is operating normally. So I'm going to put this. Now one thing we've got to be careful of is those joints have a lot of pressure on them right now because this keeps moving around. So you have to be very careful that does not break, because that just opens up a whole other window of problems that didn't need to happen. Okay. Now we have an array of too many screws floating around. This is just a repair I'm doing. These telephones are going to be used around my house to repair. It's just for myself. That's why I'm not really taking particular care about this, because if something happens, it doesn't really matter. So let's see here. I got these screws to go in, and then actually, wait a minute. No. I never took the screws out of that board, did I? Are these the right screws that's going in there? Yes, they are. Oh, good guess. Okay, so we'll put this on here. These don't have to be that tight. Tight enough they won't vibrate, but that's good enough. Oh no. I even forewarned myself, and it still happened. Well, now this has turned into a big fiasco because I have to try to solder it, and I'm not very good at soldering. Alright, well, here we go. I'll pick up the video when this stinking solder iron warms up. Okay, well I guess while it's warming up we can strip the wire. Now if the other one breaks too, I'm going to get really irritated. I don't have time allotted for this hassle. Okay. Alright, so I suppose in the time being we can put this other one back together, the one that doesn't work. The mysterious battery cover. I'm definitely going to have to revisit this and find out why that doesn't work, because that is quite baffling to me. Alright. I have a feeling I'm going to end up burning myself on the stinking iron at some point with the way this is going. One of these days, if I ever get one in the shop, one of the newer ones of these, I'll open it up and I will show the differences in the antennas and in the boards, because they are actually completely different telephones, even though they're the same model, just from a few months, or a few years rather, later. So now I will attempt to put the... oh boy. Okay. I thought I had lost track of this again. I'll put the speaker back in, and I'm going to be even more careful than I was before to not have this flex at all. And the screws are here. You know, I'm just going to get out the other set of screwdrivers. Let's see if I have any better results using these. See, it helps to have the right tools. The other nice thing about using these small drivers is that you're probably never going to end up stripping a screw or a screw slot, because you can't get a whole lot of force on it, you know, given it's a relatively small axle. So that's definitely an advantage to using these. That's about a good tightness there. Alright, so I'll tape this back down, even though that's really not necessary. It should be taped to the board, if anything, because that's where it tends to break. Put this back together. And put the screws in. Okay, now put the battery cover on, even though it won't stay on. Okay, I think the my little friend here has warmed up, and so now let's see, is it warm? Yes, it is warm. Okay, yeah, put the fan on. Alright, I'll zoom this in. See how close we can get before it doesn't focus correctly. No, that's about as close as we can get. Hey, focus. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, here we go. And just so I don't have to risk burning my hand, I'm going to use this. See, I told you I wasn't that good at soldering. Oh no. This is not a task that I do very often, and so therefore I've just never gotten good at it. And I really should change that, because occasions do come up where I need it, like right now. Okay, that should suffice. Actually, that wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not great, but I've done worse. Actually, it's not going to work because it's not going to work. What's happened is I forgot to tin the wire, and so now the strands are spreading out. You can probably see that in the video there. Well, I'm going to take this off and try again. Okay. Alright, so what is better to do is to make sure you twist this like this, and then you can take, shouldn't do this over the board, and I will heed my own advice, and you just kind of go like this. Of course this is not working as I'd like it to, but, and this just kind of prevents all the strands of the wire, because this is stranded wire. It helps prevent it from spreading out when you put it on to where it needs to be. Okay, so now I will try again to reattach this. Okay. Actually, that wasn't half that bad. Alright, let's test it out. Hopefully it works. That's a good sign. We have a display at least. What the heck? That's the spoiled speaker. What on earth? Alright. I am so confused right now. How could that be? So you tell me this one is the good one? Oh, this is getting a lot of hand here. Alright, I'm gonna have to go. I don't understand what just happened. It did. Ugh, this is awful. Oh, and now it ran out of charge. You know what? I'm gonna do this another day. I got other things to do today. Out.